Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the 2022 Golf Ontario AGM Golf for All. My name is Kayla Marie Tracy. I am a reporter anchor for Toronto's Breaking News, CP24, and I am so excited and honored to be your MC once again for this year's AGM. Now, of course, as we look back on 2021 and reflect on the golf season and just the world in which we live in, of course, we're all in this together once again. 2021, of course, had its challenges for the world of golf. There's no doubt about it. As a golfer myself and a fan of this sport, I am just really proud of how the golf industry continues to rally together and deliver an amazing year despite all of the obstacles that it faced last year, and that we should continue to work together to ensure that golf remains strong. So for Golf Ontario, facilities are at the core of what they do, and we thank you for your participation today. And we hope that today will bring a lot of new information, and hopefully it will rally everyone to be excited for what's to come in the world of golf here in the province of Ontario for 2022. At this point, I would like to begin with the land acknowledgement. Now, prior to the meeting, recognizing that Golf Ontario covers the whole of the province, Golf Ontario acknowledges and respects the Indigenous people of Ontario that for hundreds of generations have been keepers of the territories where we all live and work. Now, at this time, I would like to bring up Dr. Susan Vale. Susan is the current Golf Ontario president, and she has been a huge role and contributor to the recent successes of Golf Ontario. Susan, good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We are so grateful that golf was allowed to continue through 2021 and help so many of us get up in the morning and have something to look forward to. Strange as it sounds, the pandemic has been good to golf and to Golf Ontario. We have more people playing golf and more Golf Ontario members than we ever have had in the history of the sport. I would like to take this opportunity to give a shout out to We Are Golf. This amazing group of industry representatives, including our CEO, Mike Kelly, work together to navigate the political landscape to ensure that golf has been open for business over the past 2 years while preserving essential government relations. We thank them for their collective leadership and hope that they will continue to collaborate and advocate on behalf of golf in Ontario. Our challenge is to harness this energy that COVID generated and keep our players fully engaged while continuing to attract new players to the game. We have many initiatives underway to address this challenge, and this morning I would like to share with you 2 of them that we believe will both transform and grow the game. I'm very excited about our initiative involving building collaborative relationships with golf facilities. We need to understand the needs of our member facilities so that we can help them grow the game and maintain the health of their businesses. Our regional support strategy was designed to do just this. It's all about building trusting relationships around shared priorities between Golf Ontario and each facility and among facilities in a region. 2021 was the 3rd year of piloting the regional support strategy across 3 key regions in the province, including the GTA, Niagara-Brant-Hamilton, and Durham-Simcoe. Golf Ontario regional managers, under the guidance of Kyle McFarlane, worked closely with all facilities in their respective regions to not only help them to navigate COVID restrictions, but also to better understand how we might work together to address shared priorities. It has been exciting to see how many facilities in a region are now working together more closely. For example, if one facility is better equipped to run junior programming, then others will send their juniors there. Or it might be something more operational, such as lending a chef or sharing outdoor furniture to ensure an event can take place. All examples of collaboration rather than competition. We are also better understanding where Golf Ontario's priorities align with those of a facility. Many of those shared priorities involve growing the game. We were able to test and expand programming for youth and women through such programs as Youth on Course, Women's Tri Golf Series, and LPGA Girls Golf. In 2022, we will be expanding the regional support strategy into 2 more regions, London and the National Capital Region, which will mean that this support strategy will be reaching almost 50% of our member facilities. The second initiative that I would like to highlight is one that involves making golf more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. We applaud all of you who have already begun to invite underrepresented groups to your facilities. We need to create welcoming environments for youth, women, people of color, people with disabilities, Indigenous peoples, the S2S LGBTQ plus community, and all who have not had the opportunity to experience the many benefits of golf. Our sport has so much to offer, and we have so much to gain from being inclusive. We have many examples where transformation has begun. I attended the Junior Boys and Girls Championships at Sawmill Golf Course last summer and was very impressed with the caliber of golf, but even more excited about the cultural diversity of the players and their families. The face of golf is transforming. First Tee is another wonderful example of golf proactively reaching out into the community. Seeing golf as a means to an end, where youth, disadvantaged youth in particular, are better prepared with critical life skills through their involvement with the game is transformational. Another example is the Ontario Disabilities Championship that we are now welcoming persons with disabilities to compete in the sport. Golf is transforming. 2021 provided the opportunity to put some groundwork in place. Golf Ontario hired Korn Ferry, a company known internationally for its work in diversity, equity, and inclusion, to help us navigate our way. We now have a strategy that will allow us to move forward one step at a time while we listen to and better understand the needs of those who would like to belong to the golf family, but may have felt marginalized. We have established a work group under the leadership of Mike Lamontagne, a Golf Ontario board member and former board chair of Special Olympics Canada, and Asia Crawford, our own CFO. It is our intention to align and partner with Golf Canada as we find our way through the DEI landscape. A daunting task, to be sure, but it will be well worth the effort. It is initiatives like these that will change the face of golf over the coming years, and I'm so proud of Golf Ontario for accepting these challenges. In closing, I would first like to thank Golf Canada for its supportive leadership throughout 2021. We look forward to our combined collaboration on such events as the World Junior Girls Golf Championship and key projects such as First Tee and the Public Player Strategy. We are definitely better together. I would like to thank our seemingly tireless CEO, Mike Kelly, and his dedicated staff for working with such commitment and agility over the past year to both assist our members and continue the work of the association. We're very fortunate to have Mike's visionary leadership. Thank you, Howard Atkinson, our past president, for leaving a solid governance legacy upon which we are building and growing. I'm looking forward to my continued collaboration with my co-pilot, Vice President Leslie Ferrari, and our entire board to make more good things happen in 2022. Finally, we would accomplish very little without the amazing support of our volunteers and our members. On behalf of the board, I thank you for nurturing the health of our sport. The bar was raised in 2021. Let's do even more in 2022 to shape, transform, and celebrate lives through golf.
Susan, thank you so much for that and for all of the help and work you have done for Golf Ontario. You have been a huge resource and we thank you. With that, I want to pass things over now to the president of Golf Canada for a few remarks. We'll say good morning to Liz Hoffman. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to bring greetings from Golf Canada on behalf of member clubs and golfers from coast to coast. 2021 was another incredible season, and our sport continues to grow with pace. As president during the pandemic, I've had the opportunity to meet with volunteers and staff from across the country, Newfoundland and Labrador to British Columbia. This morning, I'm pleased to be joining friends at Golf Ontario, and this afternoon, Golf Quebec. One message has been constant in the state of our sport in Canada. Golf is really calling. Our sport continues to thrive. Record scores posted, a double-digit increase in rounds played, a 15% lift in our national membership to nearly 305,000 golfers. Consumer investment was way up in every category and so many other ways that Canadians turn to the game. That growth is evident in Ontario. A 14% year-over-year increase in club members, up to more than 91,000 members province-wide. Public player saw a 26% increase, now at more than 12,000 golfers. The growth represents a 15% increase in total members, with nearly 104,000 golfers across the province accessing member benefits from the two associations. Facility growth continues to be strong, with over 50 new member clubs reaching over 500 for the first time. Engagement with golfers reflects a similar growth trend, especially in score posting. Of the 9.3 million scores posted nationally in 2021 to the Golf Canada Score Centre, more than 2.8 million were posted in Ontario, a 14% lift. 2022 will see an expanded focus on our public player recruitment and our golfer retention strategy. The Golf is Calling national campaign, which rallied the Canadian golf community in 2021, will pivot to support the retention strategy in 2022. I'm encouraged by the success of the club engagement strategy led by our respective regional directors, Golf Services team, and Golf Ontario's regional support strategy to better support facilities at the local and regional levels, continuing to drive value to our club partners. Last week, Golf Canada announced an ambitious enhancement to our high performance strategy, which includes a major focus on national talent identification towards a goal of advancing 30 Canadians to the LPGA and PGA Tour in 2032. By 2032, the new strategy is only possible because of the generosity of golf champions who stepped up with initial major gifts of $13.5 million, including former Golf Canada President Paul McLean, who contributed a lead gift of $5 million. Our Chief Sport Officer, Kevin Blue, and his team undertook a comprehensive global golf analysis to inform the new high performance strategy. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to find some time. Kevin will be presenting the plan Wednesday afternoon at the Golf Canada's annual meeting for those attending virtually. The enhanced high performance strategy will help accelerate Canada's position in global golf and create more Canadian heroes. Just as important, maybe more, is the impact that enhanced grassroots elements such as First Tee Canada and the National Talent Identification System, working in concert with the provinces, will have an inspiring future generations of golfers. With First Tee Canada, we are extremely pleased with the rollout of the first 3 chapters in 2021, including here in Ontario, with chapters in all regions across Canada expected this year. First Tee will introduce 100,000 youth to the game by 2024. The response to this program in the early stage has been incredible, with more than $8 million in pledges thus far through the Golf Canada Foundation, which includes 5 major gifts of $1 million US. First Tee Canada is a major lever in Golf Canada's continued commitment to equity, diversity, inclusion, and safe sport, working to create a safe and welcoming environment within our organization and across our sport. I applaud the efforts of Golf Ontario in this important space, whether it's through education, training, and policies, or reflected in our activities and competitions. No matter where any of us plug into golf, the entire golf community shares a responsibility to make golf safe and a welcoming experience for all enthusiasts. Congratulations to the many volunteers, partner associations, and stakeholders who support the game province-wide. And a very special thank you to everyone at Team Golf Ontario. Dr. Susan Bale, President, Leslie Ferrari, Vice President, and the Board of Directors, along with Mike Kelly and his entire staff. Operationally, we are well in sync across all areas of our programs and services. Golf in Ontario is extremely well positioned for continued success, and I can't wait to see how this season unfolds in 2022.
Liz, thank you so much for that. And we appreciate your warm welcoming this morning. And as you mentioned, golf is calling, especially here in Ontario. So we thank you for that. At this time, I would like to bring Mike Kelly, CEO of Golf Ontario, someone that I'm sure we all know very well. And of course, like all of us, very passionate about the game of golf. And despite the shortcomings and challenges that we have seen during this pandemic and in 2021, Mike is going to share his excitement about the state of the industry and his thoughts heading into 2022. Good morning, Mike.
Thank you, Kayla. And good morning, everyone. And welcome to Golf Ontario's 2022 annual meeting, Golf for All. Well, yes, my name is Mike Kelly. However, some know me by a different name. Once upon a time, some would say I was the very, let's say, animated character of the wildly entertaining show, Mr. Knickers and Friends. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's probably a good thing. But all joking aside, I remember over a decade ago when Golf Ontario's Golf in Schools program was launched. It was designed with fun and safety in mind to give all children an opportunity to experience and learn a game that helps build character and promotes lifelong activity. It was our mission to ensure that all elementary school students, no matter their background, had a positive first golf experience with the ultimate goal of fostering strong communities. We wanted kids to lead lives well lived. Fast forward to recent times, a life well lived has taken on a whole new meaning, with the COVID-19 pandemic dramatically altering and impacting our day-to-day lives. The masks, the disrupted and rearranged working environments, the ongoing collective need to monitor and safeguard against virus transmission all testify to a very challenging last couple of years. But there's one very important thing that this pandemic hasn't, and I dare say can't touch: the golf industry's willingness to pull together and do what it must to ensure our sport remains strong. Equally important, though, is how we use this inflection point to reimagine our potential together, so that a decade from now, pathways to golf, whether through programs like Golf in Schools or public access to affordable, accessible golf courses, are open to all walks of life, with welcoming and meaningful opportunities to try, learn, and play the game for a lifetime. Golf Ontario continues to make great strides against these industry imperatives. In the long term, we are working towards finalizing an inspirational vision for 2030 and a robust strategic plan for 2026 to move the needle forward against these goals. I expect that while many of the core priorities will remain the same, we will also see some new ones as we continually proactively address some of these biggest areas of opportunity for golf.
In the near term, we remain focused on our current strategic plan, and I'm proud to share some of the key wins from 2021. Participation. The pillar remains one of our most important, getting more people to play the game more often. While COVID has continued to introduce more golfers to the game and help fill up tee sheets across the province, Golf Ontario has been focusing on several exciting initiatives to help retain this demand with our partners at Golf Canada. Youth on Course, offering $5 green fees to junior golfers, now has 32 participating facilities, and we've doubled the number of host facilities for our 100-hole hike. This past year, the first tee launched across Canada and in Ontario, and this incredible program will teach life and leadership skills to youth across the province using golf as the vehicle. And finally, our Try Golf Women's Series that started in Niagara as a pilot in 2020 was rolled out to other serviced regions. This program introduced over 1,500 women to the game of golf in 2021 and we are looking for an even bigger and better year in 2022. These programs, as well as our new LPGA partnership, have been incredible successfully at introducing new people to the game of golf and ensuring that we are building on the momentum into the future. Junior performance. The Golf Ontario team in our championships department did an amazing job once again by relaunching our championship schedule after a number of pivots. In addition to this, our team was laser focused on the successful launch of the Junior Golf Pathway. This pathway was aimed at providing a one-stop hub for junior golf in the province. We brought all of the local junior tours together in an effort to clarify the pathway for junior golfers and parents alike, and to ensure that all junior tours were incorporated into our ranking system. These efforts resulted in the launch of juniorgolfpathway.ca, an interactive tool and resource to assist junior golfers reach their highest potential. With over 1,600 junior golfers registered to this site to date, we are thrilled with the uptake in year one and look forward to enhancing this tool in 2022. And finally, leadership. Our strategic plan in 2022 is entitled Better Together. And nowhere is this more important than with our facilities and our golfers. Helping ensure the strength of our facilities across the province is at the heart of what we do. And our communications with facilities never been stronger. Through our enhanced regional support strategy, we had dedicated coverage to Niagara, Simcoe Dufferin, and the GTA in Durham in 2021. Our regional support teams have been focused on consistent communication through things like COVID measures and direction, as well as working with facilities to deliver programming that can help us continue to increase participation. From a player standpoint, we continue to work closely with our partners at Golf Canada to deliver even more value with our membership offering. This has resulted in another strong year of public player membership growth, and we now have doubled our public player members from just 3 years ago. This leadership will help us all, and I look forward to rolling out the regional support strategy to even more regions in 2022. Organizational sustainability is our last pillar. One of the most important initiatives in this area will be to develop our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic action plan that will guide our actions moving forward. We have partnered with Korn Ferry, Golf Canada, and the PGA of Canada to help guide these efforts, the results of which will be a long-term investment into growing the game and will dovetail nicely with programs like the First Tee and connect us better with local communities.
Finally, once again, a big thank you to the greatest team in golf. Golf Ontario's board, staff, volunteers, stakeholders, including our friends in the NGA and in the Ottawa Valley, and of course the media, who all made 2021 so impactful. We truly are seeing growth in golf like never before, and it's due to the great work of many, many people. Our staff, our We Are Golf partners, our great friends at Golf Canada and the PGA, our corporate partners, and all of our facilities, who we know worked tirelessly again in 2021, have all played a key role in the revitalization of the game. We now have our eyes squarely focused on 2022 and beyond, and couldn't be more excited about building momentum on this together. Only we can decide to lead in new ways, and in doing so seize a potentially once-in-a-generation opportunity to consciously evolve the very nature of our game to ensure sustainable access to the golfers of today and tomorrow. The more that we do now, the more this moment has the potential to become a movement, one that will engage more people, create meaningful partnerships, and build more pathways and better connected golfing communities. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of today's agenda and content. Back to you, Kayla.
Mike, thank you so much for those great remarks, and thanks for firing us up this morning. As Mike just mentioned, ensuring that everyone has access to the game of golf in Ontario is going to be a very important focus moving forward. And as part of that, I want to move on to our next segment, which is a very important conversation with two fantastic guests. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Rick Young. He's the president of Golf Journalists Association of Canada, a great friend to GO, as well as the host of an important conversation with Mike Kelly, Matt Janella, and Nota Begay III.
Thank you very much, Kayla. Pleased to be joined right now by two gentlemen who don't need much of an introduction, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on their resumes because they are extensive, but pleased to be joined in here right now by Nota Begay, Golf Channel, and Fire Pit Collective founder and driving force, Matt Janella. Guys, appreciate you taking the time for joining us today on the Golf Ontario AGM. I would like to get started based on the topic of conversation with you both, golf for all. I know all of us have become sort of a little ingrained with the topic more of late than say prior to maybe the last few years or even COVID. So just a general comment from both of you. Matt and Nota, when you both think about golf for all, what does it mean to you?
I mean, if you're asking me to start, it means a lot, and it means more to me every day as I feel like the last several years of my life be from Winter Park and around that community and the efforts that were made at Winter Park 9 and watching the impact that a reinvestment into a community asset and what that means to that city and the camaraderie around that community asset. And then going, and covering places like Goat Hill Park. I mean, I've done a lot of stories on a lot of public golf all over the country and quite frankly, all over the world. And knowing where the UK and seeing how the UK utilizes, golf at its infancy, from the actual people who play it and the affordability and the accessibility and the price of like £200 a year, all access golf for kids, and watching, what that does. And then now at Goat Hill Park and Oceanside, and really actually immersing myself in this community and watching what John Ashworth has done and seeing the impact that this community asset has had now on Oceanside and the greater good, and watching people rock up with music playing, dogs in tow, kids in tow, junior caddy programs, wishbone brawl, persimmon woods, t-shirts, basically no dress code, just kind of with the don't be an asshole kind of attitude. And realizing like, oh my God, this is it. This really is golf for all. We can talk all we want about grow the game and the tent poles of the game, whether it be USGA or PGA Tour or Augusta National for that matter. They all have they play their parts in the grow the game, but real grow the game, the real, the sort of the front lines of what this is really happening at municipalities. And the lower the green fee, the more impact that facility actually has on growing the game. That's the way I see it. That's where it's really happening. The lower the green fee, the more impact of a place can have on the greater good of golf for all.
Nota, I'm assuming that you would concur.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, probably one of the, if not the biggest obstacle for accessibility participation to drive, different groups of young kids, which is sort of where I specialize through our foundation's work and through the Junior Golf Initiative that we started a couple years ago. And just understanding, I think that the key thing is just understanding what those hurdles to accessibility have been, historically speaking. I've walked into more clubhouses throughout my career that have never seen an American Indian walk through the front door. People like me are usually working on the grounds crew or on the support staff. And so, understanding what that feels like, and it's not just a question of accessibility. It certainly is a question of conduct and just understanding, how to conduct yourself in a respectful, as Matt talked about, in a respectful and sportsmanlike type of mentality. But I also look at it from a different perspective. I think that there needs to be some more clarity and promotion, awareness, marketing, whatever you want to call it, around just what the industry itself does offer. I mean, there's basically two major silos, in my opinion. There's the competitive silo for PGA Tour players, LPGA Tour players that want to live in that lane and drive toward playing golf at its highest level. And then there's the industry of golf that has its own barriers to entry, but has its own myriad of opportunities available to whoever's willing to go out and get the training through in the US through some of the PGM programs. Even you don't even need to go to those anymore. You can start in the cart barn and work your way up. And marketing and finance and event management and agronomy and business and all of these things are sort of encompassed in the industry side of the game. And I think that's what a lot of young people aren't aware of, especially from some of the underserved and at-risk communities, is that just because you can't go out at the age of 15 and shoot 65 doesn't mean you can't be a part of this game. But what pushes a lot of people out is exactly what Matt's highlighting, is the fact that it is expensive. I mean, just because you can afford a lowered green fee doesn't mean you still have the ability to play, because that's just one part of the equation. You need equipment and you need golf balls. You need all these things that sort of, it adds up after a while. But I think that with the collective collaboration that the industry is providing, both from, I guess, your institutional side, like Golf Canada and the USGA, PGA of America, PGA Tour, and the corporate side, I think there is a chance for us to bridge some of those gaps and give a lot of new people access to the game.
Given your experience with WP9 and Goat Hill Park, what can associations like ours and golf operators do differently to build engagement and value for the recreational public golfer to elevate their golf experience moving forward?
It takes localized leadership. Obviously, that could be the politicians involved. That could be the general manager, the club manager, the golf course manager, the sort of the junior golf manager, whoever, that all those things need to be lined up. All those things need to be pulling in the same direction. The general theme I say all the time is stop saying no. Stop saying no. The answer is yes. Can I play music? Yes. Can I start a junior caddy and leadership program? Yes. Can I play a fivesome? Yes. As long as you keep, yes. Like just, general, can I bring my dog? Yes. I mean, yes. No has been the common theme to almost all things golf for so long. No. And it's off-putting. I mean, I said that what Tiger Woods brought us was that tsunami of interest in the mid to late 90s. And we said no to all of it. No, don't, got to do that. Got to do this. Can't do that. Don't do that. We drove them away. So now what COVID has brought us is another tsunami of interest in our game, but we're so much better positioned now. Top golf is golf. Golf without a collar is golf. Golf with music is golf. Golf in 3 holes, 6 holes, 9 holes, with your dog, with your friends, in a fivesome, alternate shot, group scramble. It all is golf. PGA Junior Leagues, youth on course. All of this is such a healthier landing place. It's now like we're walking a tightrope, but we have a mattress underneath us now. We have a catch basin of people to say, man, I had a great experience around the game of golf today. Adding a 3-hole kids course, making it free. Yes, more of that. That's what Ashworth did at Goat Hill Park. The Caddy and Leadership, Solich Caddy Academy, a spinoff of the Evans Scholar Program. All of these things we are in such a better place right now to say that we can meet the hurdles and get over the hurdles, things like Noda's talking about, where getting people comfortable with a game that may not look anything like that they are used to growing up around a country club or an all white, sort of look at the game. The game needs to be looking like we actually see the world around us. if the game can be a mix of ages and colors and backgrounds and, all of that into one, that's golf for all. That to me is something that inspires me to be immersed in this game, because the game is so much more than a game. It is so much more than trying to break your best score. It is so much the life experiences, mentorships, conversations, and impact that we have, again, can be led and fostered and cultivated by good leadership in these places. But then it becomes a community effort. If done right, those people are just one of many who are leading the charge at each specific course or community. It becomes a team effort. And when it becomes, because John Ashworth will be the first one to tell you, hey, I don't do this by myself. You know why? Because we all bought into his vision and we're making his vision possible day by day and correct. And if there are assholes out there, we get them out or we convert them into being a part of the big picture. Because you start policing yourself.
So, Noda, the place that Matt's talking about, the place that the game and the industry is trying to reach and attain to, do we spend too much time talking to people who already play golf, to consumers that we've had for years and years and years, and not enough time on talking to people who don't play?
I don't know if it's necessarily a function of who we're reaching out to, but as Matt described, and I have to give Matt a lot of credit just for his vision. I think it's refreshing to hear somebody who's entrenched in a game, who's committed to the game, who plays at a high level himself, be able to provide that type of overall perspective on just kind of what needs to happen for us to become a little bit more attractive to typically people that aren't really attracted to their game. I don't know that it's a question, going back to what you asked, if it's a question of, are we not reaching out to the right people? But I think it's more a function of what Matt described, is that, in clubs across the country, both in Canada and the US, when you drive up and you turn down Country Club Lane, it says members only. I mean, there's these big signs in all these places, and I mean, you can even go back to the Caddyshack scene where, at the bottom of the list is no bare feet, but like there's 6 other things, above that, and that's kind of how the game has been. And I just think it's what has to change. I did a lot of research and preparation over the last couple of years in starting this junior golf initiative. We have a national championship conducted every fall. We had over 4,500 kids last year across various countries, a lot from Canada, coming and trying to qualify for our national championship. And, one of the things that I did and I looked into is the power of no, and how it's really impacted sort of just any sort of, and I look at it on the competitive space. There's also sort of the industry side and the recreational side that obviously I'm not as committed to as I am with the competitive golf. But, in 2011, Joseph Bramlett was the first African-American to make it through the qualifying tournament when we still had that format, since Adrian Steele's 25 years earlier. Okay. And when he qualified and made his first start on the PGA Tour in 2011, there were 2 African Americans on the entire PGA Tour. Now, you go back 60s, 70s, and 80s, there were anywhere from 8 to 12 very vibrant, talented, gifted golfers from African American communities. You want to talk Calvin Peete, Jim Thorpe, and a number of players that just went out and not only competed on the tour, but they were winners on the tour. Calvin Peete led the PGA Tour in driving accuracy for some time, just hit it straight as you could see. And what happened in that period, in that 20 to 30 year window, where basically any and all minority participation in this game was extinguished, essentially. And it comes down to the fact that a lot of it is the caddy programs went away. So the accessibility was eliminated for a lot of players, that was their only way to play golf, was to play on Mondays when the club was closed, and the club was kind enough to allow caddies and people in the maintenance crew to come out and play 18 holes. And so you can see the domino effect of policies like that. And so now, as what Matt highlights, is this windfall of participation that we're experiencing right now. And in '97, I was at Augusta when Tiger made his first swing in the Masters in '95. I was there in '97, and just to see the game not really benefit, except for TV and the economics of the tour benefited, but in terms of participation, it was nominal. It was a flatline increase in growth in terms of what we would classify as traditional participation statistics. But now we're seeing true growth into people that they had to go outside because they felt like they weren't going to get COVID if they went outside and were in the sun and were in the free air. And how do we continue to embrace that and receive that without making the same mistakes that we made 40 years ago or 30 years ago when Tiger sort of captured the world's imagination with the game? I think people are captivated with golf now for a different reason, and now it's our job to keep their interest and reduced green fees, more accessibility, more opportunity, more education around, hey, you don't have to shoot 65 on the PGA Tour or LPGA Tour to be in this game. You can go get a great job from a great company and do what you want and still be a part of this game that you kind of sort of fell in love with during the COVID period.
In terms of equity, when we look at the women's segment and we look at the power of the women's segment and how big it's actually become literally like in the last 5 to 10 years, and the importance of women in this game. And I'll just throw it out to both of you to maybe for a comment, but just the aspect of the women consumer and their relative importance in where we need to take this game as a game for all.
I mean, it's how, again, I think that in what we're talking about here, women are incredibly sensible. I think if women feel welcome and comfortable and it makes sense to them from a time commitment, from that the game becomes more attractive to a woman. Now, I'm not a woman, but in my observations of watching this game become more sensible, again, Top Golf, I'll never, my sort of light bulb moment was one of my first assignments for the Golf Channel on Morning Drive was to go to Houston and to report with Holly Saunders, back when she was Holly Saunders. We actually reported from a day at Top Golf. Top Golf was still fairly in its infancy at that time, a concept in which you would go and rent, get a bay, 1 to 4 stories, 105 bays. And we at that time, it was very much discussed that golf took too long, was too expensive, and was too hard. And we talked about, 4-hour round. You got to have a 4-hour round. We need to get under a 4-hour round. Okay. We went there all day. We spent the day there in the morning, and it was a family atmosphere. And then at night, it became a party. That yellow line that differentiated a person who was swinging and someone who was watching and enjoying the view or whatever the experience was. When we walked out of there that day, it was about 1 a.m. Place stayed open till 2. People were still coming in to the facility and had a 4-hour wait time to try to get a bay. The numbers made no sense. You're still coming in. You're never going to get a bay. You're there for the party. And at that point, I realized people are waiting 4 hours just to get a hitting bay. That was my moment in which I realized golf doesn't have a time problem. It has an experience problem. It doesn't matter. Like again, Pebble Beach, you're not rushing around to get in at 3.5 hours, because the experience you're having has to do with taking it all in: the walk, the serenity, the setting, the spirituality, the camaraderie. No one's rushing around. No one wants to play Pebble in 3.5 hours. It's not the point. You're getting the whole experience. For women to come in to the game, and it goes beyond women, it's just everybody. Let's just call it everybody. The experience has to meet the demands of the clientele. If women feel more welcome and comfortable and have a great experience, whether that's 3 holes or 13 holes or 36 holes, or that, we're talking about the same thing: connecting dots. That's a person of color, that's a beginner, that's a kid, that's someone who's older, who's just now deciding to come to the game. Golf for all. That means something. It has to be golf for all, or it's not. It's either one or the other. It's either golf for all or it's not for all. So which is it? John Ashworth subscribes and leads a plan that truly says, if you come here, you're going to have a good experience. And if this doesn't work for you, then maybe golf doesn't work for you. That's fine. Then, bowling or tennis, or pickleball or whatever it is, fine. Go do something. Maybe something that doesn't work for you. But the point is, to say golf for all, or to say grow the game, or to say we welcome all types, you got to actually do it. Make people have or provide a good experience. And guess what? They're not going to talk about how much they spent or how long it took. They're going to talk about the good times they had, the relationship that they just built, the camaraderie they just had, the putt they made, or the conversation that they had that meant something to them. And they're going to come back.
That's
that note.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it sort of in a historical context, and I think I think Matt and I sit on the same side of this entire discussion, which I think is great. But just if you look back historically, women and Native Americans were the 2 groups of people in this country that got the right to vote last, and it wasn't well into the almost the mid 1900s that legislation was passed. And so we've always been sort of placed women in this lower tier of rights and services and opportunities. Whether you want to look at it from a corporate standpoint, you can look at it in the modern sports landscape right now, and that's something that we've addressed directly through this junior golf initiative. We just partnered with the Peggy Kirk Bell Tour, which is the largest all-female junior golf organization in the country. And then we separated our national championship from a boys and girls, 75 players from each group, to a separate boys championship of around 130 players and a completely separate girls championship. So now we're going to be able to offer more young ladies across the country, in partnership with Peggy Kirk Bell, and what they are able to provide to their members, an opportunity to participate at a national level, receive rankings points and whatnot. But really what it boils down to is just standard opportunities for everyone that's involved in this game. I don't care whether we identify them through race and gender or any of those things. Like, golf for all really needs to mean that. And I think collectively, the stakeholders that sort of call a lot of the shots at the governing bodies on the institutional level, the corporate level executives that are able to utilize their leverage to create opportunities, should be seeing this as, how can we continue to not open up doors, but lower barriers? Because that simply exists now. And we can get rid of those pretty simply through some broad-based, open-minded policy that says, hey, come on and join us. And, one thing that I, would add on to sort of Matt's comments is what will make this game more accessible? Free lessons. because, you could take a great athlete, and I have a lot of people come, oh, I was a great baseball player, and they can't hit a ball that's not moving. They can hit a ball that's moving 80 miles an hour with a bat that's round and a round ball, but they can't hit a ball that's not moving, standing in front of them, sort of, making faces at them. And it's because there's mechanics to this sport. Like, and it is a hard game. And so that's where part of the participation drops off early on, which is why Topgolf, I think, is, and those sorts of entertainment-based types of operations are a huge asset to the game, because they keep them coming back longer. They're willing to come back for the wings and the beer. Oh, and I just so happen to have to hit a shot every 15 minutes. And even if I top it off the top of the 4th level, I still get 10 points. That's great. That's all positive and productive, and keeps them in the game a fraction longer, to the point where maybe they will actually pick up some sound fundamentals and be able to hit the golf ball with some sort of good, better swing anyway. And I think, that can certainly be something that's implemented. We have thousands upon thousands of qualified PGA pros across Canada and the US that, have the expertise, and probably would be willing to provide that expertise to teach people that are just interested in getting started. But that's kind of where it has to start. Because right now, if you want a lesson, it's, depending on who you go to, it's, 40, 50, 60 bucks for a half hour. And that's just not feasible for most people.
Guys, we could hash this out for a long time here, but our time is short. Want to give you both a quick opportunity just to talk a little bit with an overview for the listeners and the viewers in here of your foundations. Noda, why don't you go first?
I'm very proud of our foundation's work. We started in 2005, the MB3 Foundation, and we focus on providing primarily Native American kids on Indian reservations in the United States an opportunity to achieve their full potential through the utilization of our sports programs, our wellness programs, our research and evaluation, just in an effort to establish best practice models that can be replicated and taught to more communities across the US and Canada. There's a large group of First Nations communities in Canada. I visited many of them, and our goal is to continue to serve these young kids and provide them, some sort of inspiration to utilize the work that we do, the people who we're affiliated with, to make something of their communities and their lives. And we're doing some great stuff. We've got golf programs, soccer programs, track and field, cross country. Try and keep those kids active, because healthy mind comes because we're keeping our kids fit and active and on the right track. So we're very, thanks for having me on the call, and it's great. Matt's been wonderful. It's been great to know him over the years, and they're doing some wonderful stuff, and we'll probably collaborate on a few more things down the road.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Noda. And yeah, we've had Nota and I have had several conversations about grow the game initiatives and possible collaborations, and seen him, develop what he's developed and stay connected to his roots and his community, and through architecture, but also programs like he's talking about. And it's inspiring, to say the least. I'm on the board of Youth on Course. I founded the program when I did a story for Golf Channel Morning Drive on the redo of Poppy Hills. I've been a member of Northern California Golf Association since I was a kid. Now I'm a member of Southern California Golf Association, but stay close to NCGA, and very proud of the program that they've created that now, as everybody knows, has swept the country and is in Canada. Youth on Course is sort of or focuses on connecting the dots of what we're talking about: affordability and accessibility, allowing kids an opportunity to play golf for $5 or less. The golf courses don't suffer any, because they end up getting compensated based on their junior rates through the program. So I'm very proud of that program, proud to be a small part of that program and where it's going and how it's getting there. Fire Pit Collective also has a Fire Pit Foundation, building off of Ryan French and Monday Q Info and what he's done in random acts of kindness. So we're going to be raising money to afford the opportunity to give high school kids, coaches, mid-level tour players who need some support on getting to an event that may change their lives. So we'll continue to build out that program and continue to sort of have an impact in ways that, who doesn't love random acts of kindness, right? Everybody is inspired. So I think we're just going to continue to do that, where kids, coaches, teams, facilities in need, we connect the dots and get them what they need on a regular basis.
Matt and Nona, thank you so much for your time today. And on behalf of Golf Ontario, we are happy to provide a donation to both of your foundations. Our conversation was awesome. Wish we could keep going. But again, thank you for everything, for your time, your thoughts, and keep up the great work, guys.
You guys appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it as well. Kayla, back to you.
Rick, thank you so much. And again, big thanks to Noda, Matt, as well as Mike for that great conversation and just simply really moving the dial forward and making sure that we continue to allow golf to be accessible for all. So at this point, I know a lot of people have been sitting down for a while now. This morning, we're going to give you a chance to stretch your limbs, maybe grab a coffee or a tea. We are going to take a 15-minute break. However, before you step aside and get your break, don't want to make sure that you all know about an exciting announcement that we have coming up on the other side of the break. So make sure you grab that coffee, you grab that drink, but you come on back in 15 minutes time as Mike will have a very exciting announcement that you do not want to miss. We'll see you in 15. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you were able to get a drink, stretch your limbs, because the second portion of this morning's AGM is still going to be incredible with lots of news. And I told you just before the break that we had an exciting announcement. And with that, this special announcement goes to further GO's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and specifically our relationship with Indigenous people of Ontario. So without further ado, I'd like to bring back Rick Young, who will have some very special guests on this incredible announcement. Rick.
Once again, Kayla, appreciate it. On behalf of the Golf Association of Ontario, I'm thrilled to be here to host a very special announcement. Over the course of the last few years, diversity, equity, and inclusion has become a significant talking point and narrative around our game right across the country. And tonight we have the sort of barriers coming down that I think everyone will appreciate and understand. Joining me right now for a special announcement are some Indigenous golf leaders, Cheryl Mitchell, Jesse Smith from Mott Hill Golf and Country Club, and from Golf Ontario, Mike Kelly, and Director of Competitions and Performance, John Lawrence. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Kelly. Mike?
Thanks, Rick. At Golf Ontario, we are part of a team that's passionate, respectful, united, accountable, and of course, brilliant. It's a place where people are family, and where we celebrate the fact that our collective purpose, shaping lives through golf, is what makes us strong. Over the past year, Golf Ontario promised to take action to foster a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive sport, both internally and externally, in which all people are treated fairly and with the support they deserve. Compelled by this purpose and commitment, we started having important conversations with Ontario's Indigenous community to better understand our province's past and present. These conversations with Indigenous leaders has been insightful and encouraging, to say the least. What became clear to us was a genuine desire to partner with Golf Ontario to make progress happen. With this in mind, and on behalf of Golf Ontario's board, staff, volunteers, and partners, we are thrilled to make a very special announcement today. This fall, we will launch the first ever provincial championship for Indigenous people, the Indigenous Ontario Golf Championship, to be hosted September 19th and 20th, 2022 at Mont Hill Golf Club, located in the heart of 6 nations of the Grand River Territory. I know we are all passionate about strengthening our commitment to diversity and inclusion efforts within Golf Ontario and the golf industry. And this is just another way in which we can continue to bring our core values and purpose to life, shaping lives through golf.
Tremendous announcement, Michael. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse Smith for a few comments. Jesse?
Yeah, so on behalf of the Monhill Golf and Country Club, I'm honored to speak on behalf of the ownership group, as well as all of the staff and employees and members. And we are thrilled to be the host of the inaugural Indigenous Ontario Golf Championship. Monhill is undergoing tremendous change over the last few years and a lot of change moving forward, all for the better for the growth of the game of golf, for our membership, but also for our communities. We're very connected and intertwined with 6 nations of the Grand River, as well as Mississaugas of the New Credit, from ownership to staff, to many of our members. We're trying to grow the game in both of those communities, as well as the surrounding Haldimand community and county. So very proud of that. We are excited to put together a great event in September. As it exists right now, Monhill is 27 holes of golf. We're going to get together and brainstorm and put together our best 18 holes to spotlight and showcase the best of our talent from our communities around Ontario. Furthermore, I think this event not only highlights and showcases the talented individuals, but I think it's an opportunity to grow the game, to provide access, to provide introduction to the game of golf, and we're all going to be better for it. So on behalf of Monhill Golf and Country Club, I'm very proud to host the inaugural championship.
Cheryl, you're a past provincial champion in Ontario. What does this announcement mean to you?
Thanks, Rick. Yes, my name's Cheryl Mitchell. I'm a member of the Wapel Island First Nation. I have played in many Golf Ontario events and have been thrilled to actually win an event back in 2003. I am honored to be a part of this exciting new opportunity for our Indigenous community. It'd be a privilege to work with Golf Ontario and our Indigenous people to have the first ever Indigenous Ontario Golf Championship. So thank you, Golf Ontario, for allowing me to be a part of this event. In the past, I've experienced top-notch golf and tournaments run by Golf Ontario, and they have been set to the highest standards. The first ever Indigenous Ontario Golf Championship will be no different. This new event will provide an opportunity for our community to grow the game of golf and provide a venue for our Indigenous people to shine. I encourage my Indigenous sisters and brothers to get your game in top gear, be ready to have some fun, and be a part of something that is the first of its kind. I look forward to seeing you there. Chimigwech.
Thanks. Thanks very much, Cheryl. John Lawrence, definitely a big day here and a big announcement. Some thoughts from you, please.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting time for sure. Personally, I'm excited about this opportunity as well. I mean, we're just looking forward to a fantastic event. As it was stated earlier, the dates would be September 19th and 20th. We would have a designated practice round on September 18th. So it would be a 36-hole championship. And really, the golfers would be open to Indigenous golfers across Canada, North America for that matter. So we're expecting a great field, considering that we have a former past champion as well. So, we should have a great field. We're looking at doing a couple of different things from our normal provincial championship. And that is we're going to be having a gross stroke play championship as well as a net Stableford. And so the whole idea there is that we can crown a provincial championship or champion, I should say, as well as, a participation fun style in terms of the Stableford component. So I think it will be an exciting time. And obviously, as Jesse was alluding to earlier, is growing the game, hopefully adding in a couple of outside events, clinics where we can introduce the game to some more golfers and their families, whether it's, in the community or around the surrounding area.
Super. Thanks very much, John. I appreciate that. Just an incredibly exciting moment right now for this announcement, for the growth of the game in Ontario. I can't imagine anything better I'll send it back to you, Mike, for some closing comments on this announcement.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this very special announcement today. A big thank you to Jesse, to Cheryl, to John, and of course, Rick for hosting. I also want to thank Chief Ted Williams, Chief Stacy LaForme, and Steve Tushnig for their support, for their engagement, to work with us to help grow the game across the communities in Ontario. Thank you very much.
Mike, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone for that incredible announcement. As we noted, we said that it was going to be something exciting, and there's no doubt that this is going to be an inaugural first of many to come when it comes to this Indigenous Championship this coming fall. So we certainly look forward to that. At this time, we've had some great conversation this morning. We had just that great announcement just a moment ago, but now it's coming down to the business portion of this year's AGM. So at this point, I want to remind all of the voting members to go ahead and log in. And at this point, I will hand things over to Susan Vale for the business portion of the AGM. Susan.
Thank you, Kayla, and good morning again, everyone. On behalf of the Golf Ontario Board of Directors, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this virtual annual general meeting of voting members of Golf Ontario. My name is Susan Vale. I am the board president of Golf Ontario and will act as chair of today's meeting. Golf Ontario's Senior Director of Finance and Administration, Mrs. Asia Crawford, will act as the secretary of the meeting. To formally open this meeting, it is my pleasure to welcome all voting members, member facilities, member golf groups, and members of the board of directors. I also want to welcome honorary life directors, past presidents, Golf Ontario volunteers, and other guests joining us virtually today. Please be advised that a copy of Golf Ontario's 2021 annual report is available at gao.ca. Before we begin, I have some instructions for those voting. Only voting members or their proxy holders received by the prescribed deadline and in the prescribed form are entitled to take part in and vote in this meeting. To make the best use of our time, certain voting members have been asked to move and second the proposals that are called for in the notice of meeting. Each motion to be voted upon will appear on your screen. Once I ask the voting members to vote on a matter presented, a ballot will appear on the right-hand side of each eligible voting member's screen or on the bottom below if you're using a smartphone. And you will have 30 seconds to vote on the motion on your screen. In order to register your vote, you will have to press the submit button. After that, click next vote. Should you wish to make a comment or ask a question at the appropriate time during the meeting, I would kindly ask that you do so by using the question tab located at the left of the voting tab, or at the bottom below if you're using a smartphone, which will allow you to type in your question or comment. We will do our best to respond to any questions in real time. However, if we're not able to do so, given time limitations or other limitations, we will respond to all questions and comments as soon as possible after the meeting. Before we begin, I ask Mike Kelly, Chief Executive Officer of Golf Ontario, to confirm the notice of meeting.
Thank you, Sue. I confirm that the notice of the annual general meeting was distributed to all member facilities, member golf groups, and board members on February 4th, 2022.
Thank you, Mike. I have received a motion from Leslie Ferrari to move that the notice of meeting dated February 3rd, 2022, and sent to all individual voting members and members of golf facilities and golf groups of Golf Ontario on February 4th, in accordance with our bylaw, be taken as read. Thank you, Leslie. I have received from Murray Blair a second to the motion. Thank you, Murray. You have heard the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. With the notice of meeting confirmed and the roll call of members having been completed upon logging in, I declare the 21st meeting of members properly called. As President and Chair of the Board of Directors, I would like to thank my fellow directors for serving with me as members of the Board of Directors this past year. At this time, I would like to pay tribute to those in the golfing community who have recently passed away. Dave Mills was an incredible leader and advocate for golf in Ontario. Since 1986, Dave was involved with the GAO, served on the Board of Directors from 1989 to 1997, and was appointed as Executive Director in 1997. John Swift served on the Board of Directors from 2008 to 2010 and was President for the 2010-2011 year. In 2020, John received the Honorary Life Directors Award. Bill Duffield was a longtime volunteer with Golf Association of Ontario, serving as a rules official, board member, and past president in 2007. I ask you to join me in observing a moment of silence in tribute to Dave, John, and Bill, and others that from the golf community who have passed away during the past year. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming the following special guests in attendance today. From the group of Golf Ontario's past presidents, we have with us John Gallagher and Maurice Wetmore. From Golf Ontario, Golf Canada, and the Golf World Hall of Fame member, Marlene Stewart-Streep. From Golf Canada, we welcome Liz Hoffman, Lawrence Applebaum, and Garrett Ball. From the Golf Canada Foundation, Martin Barnard. Scott Cooper, who is consultant with the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism, and Culture Industries, is with us today. From the Golf Canada Journalists Association, Rick Young. And thanks to our many industry partners who have joined us, including We Are Golf. And We Are Golf is represented by the National Golf Course Owners Association, the Canadian Society of Club Managers, Ontario Golf Superintendents Association. Also, we welcome the Provincial Golf Association's executive directors and presidents, the Northern Golf Association, Ottawa Valley Golf Association, Golf Ontario sponsors, LPGA, PGA Tour Canada, Corn Ferry, and of course, our many friends in golf media. The quorum at a meeting of voting members shall be 25 members presented in person or by proxy, each member a director of Golf Ontario or a duly appointed delegate of a member golf facility or golf group. I would ask Asia Crawford to confirm that quorum has been met with respect to the number of members represented in person or by proxy.
Madam Chair, I confirm that 14 voting members are present in person virtually today, and 130 proxy votes have been received. I confirm there are 16 votes being represented by 14 voting delegates in person at this meeting. I declare that quorum is present.
Thank you, Asia. I now declare this meeting properly constituted for the transaction of business. The items of formal business to be conducted at this meeting are described in the notice of meeting previously sent to all voting members and as listed in the agenda, and any other business as may be properly brought before this meeting. Our agenda for this meeting is as follows. First, approval of the minutes. Second, receiving the 2021 financial statements. Third, appointment of the auditors for 2022. Then ratification of business conducted over the year, followed by the election of directors. Item 3 on our agenda right now, approval. I have received a motion from Michael Lamontagne that the agenda as outlined in the notice of meeting be approved. Thank you, Michael. I've received from Jay Aspen a second to the motion. Thank you, Jay. You have heard the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. On to item 4 of our agenda. The minutes of the annual general meeting held on April 19th, 2021 were included with the notice of meeting. I will entertain a motion that the minutes be taken as read and approved. Please click the next vote button on your screen. I have received a motion from Mike Lamontagne, which moves that the minutes of the previous annual general meeting of the Golf Association of Ontario, held on April 19th, 2021, as circulated, be taken as read and verified. Thank you, Mike. I have received from Lloyd Kamori a second to the motion. Thank you, Lloyd. You have heard the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. To select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. Item 5 on our agenda. The Board of Directors has approved the audited financial statements and auditor's report for the year ended October 31st, 2021. I now place them before the meeting for consideration. The statements were provided with the notice of meeting. I will ask Sheldon Chekrin, the Chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, to provide his comments on our financial performance in 2021.
Thank you, Susan. The audited financial statements for the year ended October 31st, 2021 were provided as a link in the annual meeting information package that was sent to all of the members. The services of BDO Canada LLP were retained and the audit was conducted in late November. The results of the audit were reported to the Finance and Audit Committee on December 6, 2021 and to the Board of Directors on December 15th, 2021. As a result of the audit, BDO issued a clean audit with an unqualified opinion, which is the highest opinion given, indicating that the financials of the Golf Association of Ontario are fairly stated and presented. 2021 was a challenging year for everyone, including Golf Ontario. We began the year with great optimism and that we'd be able to successfully deliver on our financial plans as budgeted. The uncertainty precipitated by the second year of the pandemic necessitated the Golf Ontario team to continually pivot in order to safely and successfully host programming and championships. Highlights from the statement of financial position are assets of over $3.2 million, current liabilities of $960,000, restricted and unrestricted fund balances and capital assets together were over $2.26 million. Overall, we continue to maintain a strong financial position with sufficient unrestricted funds to provide cash flow and maintain operations throughout the on and off seasons. On the membership side, overall membership grew by over 430,000 year over year with a surge in golf participation and facility growth in 2021. Strange as it sounds, the pandemic has been good to golf and Golf Ontario. We now have more people playing golf and more Golf Ontario members than we've ever had in our history. Individual members through clubs were up 11% in 2021. Facility memberships increased by 11%, and public playroom memberships were up 27%. On the competition side, we are pleased with the completion of the 2021 competitions and tournament schedule after navigating through multiple schedule revisions as the pandemic plowed on this season. Congratulations to all the winners of the 2021 championship events. On the fundraising side, we had a strong year with the launch of the First Tee Ontario. This launch has re-energized our trustee donor efforts. We have been able to raise over $73,000 in corporate donor revenue and an additional $26,000 in individual contributions. We continue to pursue new donors, trustees. In addition, we rebranded the Junior Golf Drive to the First Tee Ontario Cup and had an extremely strong event on August 30th, 2021 at the Granite Club. This successful event was a celebration of the First Tee and a thank you to our donors and trustees. Sponsorship revenue is a key to our plan to continue to increase and diversify our revenue streams. We are now at 15 Golf Ontario partners, which is up significantly over the last 2 years. Team Ontario and some of our other programs continue to benefit from a strong support of our Golf Ontario partners, including TaylorMade, Adidas, and Humber College. On the grant side, we are grateful to the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sport for the funding we have received, $250,000 from Ontario Amateur Sport Fund, and the Federal Government of Canada for the COVID-19 emergency support grants and fundraising to community sport clubs. On the expense side, overall expenses were well managed and we're able to, within our revenues, resulting in an operating surplus of just shy of $350,000. Statement of changes of net assets sets out the changes to the restricted and unrestricted funds, and the notes to the financial statements provided additional details. In conclusion, Golf Ontario continues to maintain a strong financial position and is well positioned to deliver on the strategic objectives to grow the game. We will continue to pursue our mission to shape lives through golf. This concludes my report. I move that we receive the 2021 year-end financial statements for Golf Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon. Please click the next motion button on your screen. I have received from Barbara Baudouin a second to the motion. Thank you, Barb. You have heard the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. On to item 6 on our agenda, the appointment of auditors. Please click the next motion button on your screen. I move that the firm of BDO Canada LLP Chartered Accountants be reappointed as auditors until their successors are appointed, and that the Finance and Audit Committee of the Board of Directors be authorized to fix their remuneration. I have received from Nancy Bertrand a second to the motion. Thank you, Nancy. We will proceed with the vote on the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. Item 7 on our agenda is the ratification of business conducted. Included in the notice of meeting was a copy of all motions approved by the Board of Directors from April 18th, 2021 to December 15th, 2021. I will entertain a motion that the acts and business conducted by the Board of Directors since the adjournment of the annual general meeting of April 19th, 2021 be ratified. Please click the next motion button on your screen. I have received a motion from Murray Blair, which moves to ratify the acts and business conducted by the Board of Directors of Golf Ontario since the adjournment of the annual general meeting held on April 19th, 2021. Thank you, Murray. I have received from Lloyd Kamori a second to that motion. Thank you, Lloyd. We will proceed with the vote on the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Thank you, Asia. Item 8, the election of directors. Our next item of business is the election of directors. The report of the nominating committee was included with the notice of meeting. As outlined in the report of the nominating committee, there is one individual nominated for a second 3-year term, Murray Blair. Julian Franklin and David Herrera are nominated as new directors for a 3-year term. I will entertain a motion that the directors listed in the nominating report be approved. Please click the next motion button on your screen. I have received a motion from Leslie Ferrari, which moves to approve the election of Murray Blair for a second 3-year term and Julian Franklin and David Herrera for a first 3-year term. Thank you, Leslie. I have received from Sheldon Chekrin a second to the motion. Thank you, Sheldon. Sorry about your name. We will proceed with the vote on the motion. Please cast your vote either in favor or against the motion from the drop-down options on your screen. Once you select your voting option, please hit the submit button.
Madam Chair, the Secretary confirms that the motion carries.
Wonderful. Item 9 on our agenda. At this time, I would like to introduce the Board of Directors of Golf Ontario for 2022. President is myself. Vice President is Leslie Ferrari. And for the remaining director positions on the board are listed alphabetically. Jay Aspen, Barbara Baudouin, Nancy Bertrand, Murray Blair, Sheldon Chekrin, Julian Franklin, David Herrera, Lloyd Kamari, and Michael Lamontagne. It has been another challenging year, but I am grateful that golf was allowed to remain as a bright spot in the lives of so many during the dark days of the pandemic. I am also grateful for our tireless CEO, Mike Kelly, and his dedicated staff and volunteers, and my board colleagues who take their collective roles as trustees very seriously. We are pleased to welcome Julian and David as our newest board recruits. Julian brings a wealth of experience in sport marketing and sponsorship. He considers himself a change agent and looks forward to working with us to create more welcoming environments for new golfers. David brings extensive experience and skill in DE&I, change management, and organizational development. He is passionate about working with us to better show how golf improves the lives of people and builds community. We are very excited about welcoming David and Julian to our board. Item 10 on our agenda. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Howard Atkinson for his service over the past 6 years. Howard has been a valuable member of several of our committees, including finance, governance, HR and compensation, and nominating. He has brought a much appreciated balanced perspective to our discussions and decisions. Howard will be continuing as past president and a non-voting member of the board. And I, for one, am happy to have his sage voice at our table for another year. Item 11, in the notice of meeting that was sent on February 4th, members were asked to deliver to the CEO all other business that was to be brought before the annual general meeting of members before February 11th. There being no other business, I declare this annual general meeting of members to be adjourned. I would like to thank everyone for attending the 21st Annual General Meeting of Golf Ontario, and we'll pass it back to Kayla to wrap things up.
Susan, thank you so much. At this point, I would like to personally thank everyone for attending the 2022 virtual meeting today. It is unfortunate that once again, we are here back virtually, unable to meet in person, but I do believe that next year's AGM, we will finally get to meet everyone in person, in the flesh, and reunite. But until then, again, a special thank you to all of the Golf Ontario volunteers and staff for their continuous continuous hard work and dedication to the sport throughout this pandemic, and as we've continued to pivot and shift as best as we can. To all of the sponsors and partners of Golf Ontario, we thank each and every one of you for your continued support and contribution. It is truly valued. We do hope that you enjoyed today's presentations as well as the conversations, hopefully moving the dial forward, making golf accessible for all. And of course, today's special announcement, we are very, very excited and are looking forward to some of the great things to come. And of course, a great season of golf ahead for us in 2022. It has been a pleasure for me to serve as your MC once again this year. I hope to see you all again for the 2023 AGM next year. I hope everyone has a great day. And with that, take care and be safe.